What comes to mind when you think about butternut squash? Is it making soup or cubing it up for a stir fry or roasting in the oven? Well, what about turning it into a puree that you can use in pies and all kinds of other things? That's what we're going to do today. Welcome to the Salted Pepper, where we cook for real life using real food and we keep it real simple. And today's video is all about the butternut squash. What I'm going to do today is use my pressure cooker to break down the butternut squash into this nice puree. All right, so here we go. First thing we need to do is have our pressure cooker. Any style will do, any size will do, because we're going to actually cut the butternut squash. Now, I've had butternut squash that are really short, and they fit right into the pressure cooker. You can do it that way if they'll fit on your rack. But you can see this one is 4 pounds. So it's long, and we have to cut it up to get it into the pressure cooker. So inside I have a rack. So any rack or trivet that you want is perfectly fine. Put 1 cup of water in there. That's for the pressure cooking. And then we're gonna take a nice sharp knife and we're gonna cut this into 3 or 4 pieces, depending on how, 2 to 4 pieces, depending on how big your butternut squash is. What I like to do is take it, see where this bell is, like the ball on the bottom? I like to cut that off as 1 piece because that's gonna be where most of the seeds are. That's gonna be where some of the stuff is that you're gonna wanna get out. And don't throw away those seeds because I'm actually gonna show you in a different video how to roast them up. All right, so let's get started here. Now, you want to have a nice sharp knife and go straight down. And there we go. Okay. Now, you don't see the seeds right now because there is some flesh here. If I would have gone a little bit lower, you would actually see the seeds. Now, what I like to do is put this upside down, okay, so we don't have a lot of liquid accumulating on the top. And then I will just cut this off right here. And probably cut these in half will be fine. All right, there we go. Now, the reason why I like to use the pressure cooker instead of roasting in the oven is because the things that I'm going to use the puree for don't need that roasted flavor. I mean, it's delicious, but this is a lot easier and a lot quicker, and I don't have to peel the butternut squash, which is something I do not like doing because it is a pain. All right. Once that's all in, put your pressure lid on. You're gonna make sure that you are in the sealed position. On this model, we turn the lever, we move the lever all the way over here. We're gonna turn it on. It'll default to high pressure. That's what we want. We wanna take our time to 25 minutes. When the 25 minutes is up, you can do an immediate release, and then we will move on to preparing the flesh to get a nice smooth puree. All right, let's go ahead and get these out. We want them to cool a little bit before we process them into puree, and that's just for your comfort level, really. You could process them right now, but if you're gonna use a masher and some splatters, it's gonna be super hot, or if you're gonna use a ricer like I'm gonna do, some of it kind of spills over, so I just let them cool a little bit. All right, now with this one, I actually turn it up this way. Then what I like to do right now, before it cools, is just take a pair of scissors that are clean or a sharp knife and just go straight down and start to get this outer coating to peel off. Number 1, it's gonna make it cool a lot faster. And number 2, it's just easier to get off, I think, when it's warm. So I'll just go around. I might take like a little butter knife and just sort of go around and just peel these off. This on this end here just is gonna kind of pop right off. But these are really hot, so be careful. This guy here is gonna be for a different purpose. Mostly he's gonna be used for the seeds inside. So what I like to do is go ahead and cut a hole right now, or cut them in half even. That's perfectly fine, to let that really cool. All right, let me move those over, and then we're cool enough now that I can take the seeds out, and I do that just with a spoon. It is much easier to do this when it's still just a little bit warm Just pull those seeds right out. We will mash that up as well for our puree. All right, perfect. Now with this pile of seeds, they're kind of attached. So what I do is take them, put them into a container. I'll let them cool down a little bit more. I'll pick these up. And I'll run them under water with my hands and I'll separate the seeds from the flesh. All right, there we go. We've got our butternut squash seeds. You'll see a little bit of the flesh still there. Don't worry about that. As they dry a little bit, that's just gonna come right off. So I have them on a paper towel and I'm gonna let them dry for about 30 to 40 minutes. And then I will air fry them up and get them nice and toasted for some crunchy butternut squash seeds. All right, now to puree the rest of it, there's several different ways that you can do this. You could use a blender or a food processor if you have one. But my favorite way, and the way that I'm gonna show you today, is using a potato ricer. This will give you the smoothest, most velvety, luxurious butternut squash puree ever. And I highly recommend it. So if you don't have one, you might want to pick one up. They're relatively inexpensive. You can get them on Amazon. But if not, you can use a mixer, you can use a blender, you could use an immersion blender even. So whatever you have, you can use. So I'm going to put just a little bit here into the bottom. You don't want to fill it too much with this type of a ricer, or it's all just going to kind of go around the sides. And then we just push. Scrape the edge, open this up, and I do this like on a cutting board here because there is a little bit that's gonna come out. That is still fine, I'll use that. And we just keep going. All right, there we go. Let me clean up here and then we will level this off and I'll let you know how many cups of the pureed butternut squash I got. All right, so I ended up with 4 cups of delicious butternut puree.